wonderful audience. This is Jeannie from Wall Street podcast. We are doing a special interview by President of Black Tie, Jared, to interview the friend and amazing director, producer of Main Street, who is a producer of Home Alone. Now, Jared has questions to Scott Rosenfelt. Jared?
Scott, you've had a great couple of weeks here getting organised. I'm hearing wonderful things. So
yeah.
Well, where are you today?
Well,
what's ready? What's the next steps?
Sure.
What can we do for you? What's our audience? Maybe they can help.
We have a great script written for Main Street, which is a new series, pilot for a series that we're going to be doing in the Chinese American community in Flushing. It's for a mainstream audience. It's designed to sell to a major buyer. And we have a great cast, combination of professional actors, local people, great stories from the local community, which helped create the characters. And we start shooting on October 14th. We have 3 days of shooting, and we're prepping, which means we're finding and locking locations, we're hiring crew and doing all of that. But right now, and we're involving the Chinese community. A lot of the crew is Chinese or Chinese American, so we're very happy about that too. So it's coming together really well.
Oh, it's tremendous. I mean, there's a great interest. I think most people would, outside of the States or even in the States, think like, what would my life be if I lived in New York City?
And I think there are people in New York who are very aware of the Asian community in Queens, right, Flushing. But people in Kansas or in Brazil don't necessarily know, and it is obviously a new growing kind of upper middle class Chinese community. People think of the Chinese in New York and they think of downtown Chinatown, but that's not the center anymore. And it's very vital, it's very exciting, and these stories are the people's stories of this community. And that's what makes it even more exciting.
And what sort of themes as you've developed it in the last while, is there any directions or any big questions and big issues?
The interesting thing is what I like to do, and I've done it with other movies where I've dealt with sort of certain ethnic groups, whether it's in a light way, the Portuguese in Connecticut and Rhode Island with Mystic Pizza, Smoke Signals, which was the Native American community in Washington and Idaho and down to Arizona, and other films. Critical Thinking, which dealt with the Latino community in Miami, is you want to make something that shows people, oh, I've never seen that before. That's very cool. I didn't know it looked like that. I didn't know the food was like that. I didn't know it felt like that. At the same time, the underpinning of it, the drama, is that we are all the same. We have the same loves, fears, tears, everything. So it's humanistic, but it's also unique. There's uniqueness to the culture. And it's that blend that I think that makes it powerful.
I see there's a lot of, just from my chatting with people, there seems to be another underlying question that keeps coming up, and that's a kind of generational change where you have parents with certain expectations and then kids who have perhaps been much more involved and educated in the American system that have a different outlook and a different aspirational values. I mean, those conflicts, are they part of the story?
Absolutely. You see grandmothers, you see mothers, you see kids in their 20s and 30s, and you see ones that have kind of, I wouldn't say rejected the culture. They haven't rejected the culture, but they're finding their own way as Americans. They're unaccented. There's the next group of mothers who are still somewhat accented. Then you have the grandmothers, some of which still don't speak English, and it moves up and down the ladder that way. So you see that. That's exactly what's interesting about the story, and it's that sort of that stew that makes it so interesting. Do people still like each other? Are the kids automatically rejecting their parents? Not necessarily, but it is a generational thing, and that's what makes it so interesting, and that's what I love about it.
Yeah, I think also, it seems like the parents were much more trainers and they were much more involved in business, where a lot of the kids seem to have moved into professional jobs.
Yeah.
And more sort of mainstream, well-paying career professionalism.
Yeah. Or things that their parents may not think are real jobs, like singing or acting,
right,
or something that they would just say, no, you should be in a trade, or you should be a doctor. If you're going to really aspire, be a doctor, be a lawyer, be something. But people want to do what other people do. So in our show, one of the characters is a singer, and her mother totally rejects her because she doesn't even think it's a job, right? And you've heard that in other cultures many years ago, but it's the Chinese community is catching up to that, and the parents and the kids have to start understanding that who they are with each other, and that's ultimately what the series is about.
And Scott, just to finish, like, word to the viewers and things, what is it that how can they help? What would you like them to tell their friends, and how can they generate interest in what we're doing? Is it the story of the story, or is it the opportunity to perhaps engage in bigger questions? And obviously, this happens to be Flushing in a Chinese community. I could see similar stories in many communities, actually, that I know.
Yes, that's a great point, really, because as important as that is right now to this community, the Chinese community, you could do this in every community. There isn't enough entertainment based on certain ethnic groups. There's lots of talk about it in Hollywood, that maybe there's this one show or one other. There isn't enough. There just isn't enough. And there's all these voices. They're these great voices, and they have great stories. And it doesn't even matter. It doesn't even have to be ethnic, but it happens to be interesting that way. And it just needs to be explored more and more and more. So I think other people should take heart that they could do what we're doing. We're not doing anything that amazing. We're just looking at something and figuring out a sort of a fresh angle on something that's kind of been done before, but other groups can do it.
Well, I think, as usual, Scott's been very humble here. Doing things well and simple is really difficult. And to tell a story and to tell it where more people want to engage is a special skill. Scott, you've done a great job. We're really looking forward to, seeing, what is it called, the first cut of this or whatever. Yeah. So we'll definitely share it with our audience, and perhaps everybody out there will be posting where you can see it, and I'm sure you'll welcome opinions. So we'll give you a contact.
Most of them.
Most of them. So.
No, yeah, for sure.
So
we look forward to it.
Anyway, Scott, thanks a lot. I know you're heading out. So thank you very much for today.
Nothing.
Cheers.
All right.